Are we live?
And I think we're live. Hold on. Let me refresh this. Yep, we're live.
Oh, right. It's Painting
Okay.
Platinum, number 37, right? I think
Yes,
it's
I believe that's what I
37.
have documented. Yep.
I'm Sadie, and this is Justin. Uh, just in case you've never watched this before, I am a new-ish painter. I just completed the Learn to Paint Kit 1 and 2, the Core and Layer Up kit, and this is my first mini that I've done outside of that. This is 3001 Phoenix. Um, and I have it base coated. You know what I realized? I did not do primer on the bottom yet, and I don't have it in here with me. I might have to text somebody and be like, "Hey, can you bring me primer?" Um, but anyway, that's what I got. Yeah, 3001 a Space Phoenix. Exactly. And then over here on this, I'm doing this kind of like test palette to make sure that I like what I'm doing. Um, so yeah, it's 37 almost in a row, Garage Yeti. Hi everybody. Um, some I think I skipped some. There was a time my grandpa was in the hospital and like we thought he might have had COVID, but he didn't. So I had to miss that. I think there was another one. Um, let's see. I'm just using. I also forgot my pokey tool, so I'm using a bobby pin. Um, it's not gonna work. Okay, I've got to text somebody real quick. How am I gonna do this? We'll figure it out. Maybe I just won't work on that part. I don't know how much of a no-no that is if I can prime something later, like after I've already done a lot of other things. Anyway, I'll continue working on this. I'm looking for my paper clip. Scrying Eye, Numbat, Plainer Spoons, Garage Yeti, Alexander, Peter Rooster, Eldridge Eye. Justin's putting pants on, clothes. He said clothes in general because if he doesn't, it's like the time of day where he'll. I said it'll be sad, and Justin was like, "Yeah, I'll be sad," but I was thinking like, "No, it'll be sad that you're not wearing clothes yet." But whatever. That's the Fort Worth office life. Um, it does feel a little like a violation though to have somebody just. I mean, I don't know what it means not having clothes on. I'm assuming it's like basketball shorts and a t-shirt. Okay, let's see. Primer is paint with a slightly different chemical composition. Rings Raccoon says, I think, yeah, so I think what you're saying is that I can go back over and carefully prime that. I hope that's what you mean. But anyway, I'm just kind of going, I couldn't get that open. Kind of going through, I'm making a little palette, and then I'll show you guys what it is, and I'll show you guys kind of my inspiration photos, though one is really small. So what I did was I got on my phone and I've got this app. It was a free app and it's a oh, thank you iFi Paints. Thank you. I'm so glad. I was so nervous about it. Um so I've got this app and it's like a color chooser. It's like an eyedropper. I'll probably show you. I don't think that's that weird. So what I'll do is I'll take photos of anything and I'll isolate colors out of there. I don't know if that's cheating. I should probably use my eye. But either way, like I'll isolate colors out of there so I can really quickly select colors because I'll tell you, I really need to make time for content and figuring out what I'm going to do and what I'm going to use because I end up just thinking about it at home, coming in, rushing through, and grabbing stuff. So I'll show you that. I'll show you my. So I have a few reference photos. One is a light on this mini so that um, it's a light on this mini so I can figure out what I want to do with it. No, not that. Ignore that. That didn't happen. Um, So I lit it from the bottom and took a screenshot of it. So that's kind of what I'm going for because this bottom here is flames. So there's that. There's the back, same thing. The one thing I was thinking is I was like, well, there's not fire here as much as there is from the front. So wouldn't that cause some shadows in here? But then I was like, well, you're overthinking it because you're not very good at this yet. So maybe just chill. But I'm sure that one of you guys will know that. Hi, Scott Beal. So Dr. Bob, I started working here when I was 17 or 18. I think I was 18. And I worked on the wheel packaging. And then I worked on the wheel packaging. I assembled kits before there was a kit shop. So you would get all the metal together, the metal kits, get all the metal together, and you'd have this table, and you'd make the kit, put it in, send it off. So like this is the thing that Reaper used to be, was just kind of almost dangerous in the sense that it was just one person. So I was really careful because I was like, man, I could really mess something up. Then I worked in the paint department, 6-packing paint, which is just an ultra entry level, like we don't even have somebody doing it right now. This would be for like high school kids, or sometimes we like to hire like special needs kids, and they'll come in and they'll do it. They'll 6-pack paint, and yeah. So, but right now, because of COVID, we don't have a full staff, so we don't have that right now. So a 6-pack paint. What else did I do? Then I worked on internet 1 day a week because we lost somebody. So before I got my cosmetology license, I was in like community college thinking I was going to be an art teacher or acting teacher, some kind of teacher. So yeah, like I was going to, my plan was like to major in art and theater. Thanks, Chef of Love. Then I'm sure I left for a while because I worked at coffee shops. Well, I'd worked at Starbucks before I was 18. I think the last time I worked for Starbucks was when I was 18. Then, okay, I think I left and came back. Worked in paint. I don't know that I ever worked in internet again. While I worked in internet, I learned to cast, so that because I worked on the internet on Sunday, it was just me. So you'd pull your little orders, and yeah, naughty Kraken. I say Kraken, but now I say Kraken because other people say Kraken, but naughty Kraken, whatever. It's a really cute shirt. I really like it. And then I went back to paint, and eventually, so like Daryl the sculptor was our paint guy, and he pumped all the paint. I could label by this point, and then I started pumping and prepping paint, which now you don't have to wait a whole long time before you learn to pump paint. Now that's like you're new, you gotta learn to pump paint, but at the time it was like pretty hard. And that's pretty much it. A couple years ago I started learning how to mix. Was that last ReaperCon or the ReaperCon before? It was the ReaperCon before last. I learned how to mix right after that. So they didn't have special caster names at the time. John Overton was just another caster. He wasn't like the head of casting. I think Gent, the mold making lady, might have been the head of casting. But yeah, so it's just a different time. It was a lot smaller. Brian and Shannon taught me to cast. It's actually really funny. So when you cast, you put the mold in this pressurized machine, and I think it spins. I can't remember. But it's pressurized. I think it spins. You pour the hot metal in there, whatever. And after about like, I don't know, an hour, maybe 3 hours. Like we had been doing it a long time and nothing turned out right. And Shannon and I realized that the machine was off. We were just pouring metal into the mold without the machine being on. and I was pretty okay at it after that. Like no whiz at it. I don't know if you guys have ever heard this, but the thing about John Overton that people really brag about is that he's fast. He remembers what different molds are like, and he's good at dialing them in very quickly. He's a very good caster. I don't know of anybody else that's been that has picked it up like that. Very talented caster. So yeah, that's what I've done here. Not that much. Internet drove me crazy because there were so many different products coming from so many different places. It was really hard for me to prioritize it.
I'm back, by the way.
Good. I was thinking, I was like, I'm sitting here filibustering and he could be back. And I'm just going and going and going and going.
But also to tack onto your caster conversation, Scotty was also good for the same reasons too. Scotty just it was hard to keep him on task.
Scotty is good at dragging his feet and going to get water.
That's what I'm saying. But when he was casting, he was pretty fast.
Scotty pissed me off one time because and I did distribution. One time we were doing an order for this guy, and this guy was an asshole. And so a lot of people were like, well, why do we need to get this out? This guy's an asshole. And I was like, all right, well, I need to get it out. So I needed this very special figure that only this guy got. Let's say it was a wizard. And do you know who I'm talking about? Anyway.
Wait, who is this? Give me more hints. I'm trying to remember who you're talking about.
The wizard in... I heard that he ruined our... Like, he made it so we couldn't have, like, points anymore or whatever. I don't know. Doesn't matter. I shouldn't even said that much. Anyway, trying to get this order out for this guy that contains this wizard. And this wizard was really hard to cast. Like, he had to cool down before you could do it again. And there weren't that many wizards in a mold. And Scotty, one time I was like, hey, I was kind of planning on getting this out today. What do you think? He's like, oh, that's not going to be done today. And it pissed me off. Oh, it made me so mad, like the way he said it. And what he probably meant was like, no, this has to cool down. Like, not everybody's what's the word? Is it verbose? Not everybody just over explains the shit out of everything. And I have to remember that. But what he was probably saying was like, whatever, I can't get it out.
Yeah, he is the king of like short, provocative answers, where he knows full well that if he gives a short answer like that, it's likely gonna piss even people who don't find stuff like that annoying. He'll do it, and it'll make you kind of go, wait a minute, what? But then the opposite end of the spectrum, where like I'll over explain everything.
Yeah, who explains everything?
I do. I
do too. I'm
like
real bad about
someone says, "Hey, give me a one-word answer for something." It's so difficult for me to do. I can't do it.
Yeah, no, you've got to know, and if you don't understand me, I will just explode and die. So anyway, but yeah, that was fun. But I really like paint because there's a lot going on. Yeah, I would hold on to that, no Matsy. I don't know why. I'm the same way. There's a lot going on in paint, but it's all the same type of product, and it's all in the same packaging, the same size box, the same whatever, so I can focus on it and be happy. The one thing, sorry, I'm not like stalling. I just want you guys to see what I'm doing with these colors, and this is normally what I would do before the show, but anyway, I'm not stalling, and I'll explain more in a few minutes. Or was I?
Stalling while stalling.
Yeah, may continue stalling. How did they flare? But anyway.
They call you Lady Filibuster Reagan for no reason.
No, they sure don't. So I tested out of government, and I do remember learning, like, my teachers would quiz me, because, like, essentially, I started going to a work at your own pace school, and my own pace is to walk around and see what everybody's been up to, kind of get a vibe on everybody in class, including my teachers, kind of see what my teachers are up to, tell them what I've been up to, go up to the front desk and talk to that lady, maybe get myself into trouble and deal with the counselor, assistant principal. Then I do a little work. We had this typing tutor that was like a part of, I don't know, typing. And me, and it was my best friend's husband, but I was friends with him first. We would get on the computer and do this typing program and pretend we were working and we weren't even in that class. Like, looking back on it, I was like, why wouldn't you just do your work? But I was a little passive aggressive. Anyway, whatever. But when I tested out of government, I had 2 teachers that were quizzing me over it. And there were a few things that, and I do love government. It's actually really surprising that not taking a government class in high school inspired so much love of government. But with filibustering, they were like, oh, you're going to love this. And I was like, what? And they were like explaining the filibuster. And I was like, oh, dear God, you can't be serious. Like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard. But yeah, and one of my teachers was like, yeah, filibuster Sadie, and that I was the great siren of my classroom because I would distract people. I would just pull people away from whatever they were doing. But somebody was sort of offended. They were like, are you saying she's like annoying like a siren? I was like, no, he's saying I'm like a Odyssey siren. He was like, exactly. The Mighty Garrett Ball says, Baal, something that occurred to me. Painting creatures is a good way to practice the physical skills of painting for newer painters. Sadie will skip up skills here that will help with painting humans with fiddly bits. I like that. Yeah, I love to wreck ships and drown men. In fact,
Sirens also eat.
go ahead.
Oh no, I mean like don't sirens also eat the sailors
I'm
that
sure they
they?
do. If I were hungry enough. Which is actually funny because my high school boyfriend used to call me Destroyer of Man, which I've only ever heard anybody say on a Western one time. Like a
Oh boy.
street preacher, not even a street preacher, this like weird old timey preacher called a lady Destroyer of Man. So it must be some old timey biblical thing. Or not like biblical, or I'd know about it. I've never heard Destroyer of Man. I almost dipped it in the coffee. This is Elven Green. So what I wanted to use, there was an HD color I wanted to use, but I was like, don't use the HD colors because nobody can get them, right? So they're gone. But there was this really deep kind of bluish green in the HDs, and I'm sure somebody will know it, that Anne really liked, but I don't think it was very popular. Like, there are a lot of colors that people don't appreciate that are really useful. So that was one of them. Then I'm going to use Squaw Green. This is one of mine. Yes, and yes. Okay, so I was looking at fire. I was like looking at fire pictures. And then a question I had last week was, what kind of fires can you find in nature? Which got me, I think it might have been spruce green. Z-Wiz Erase. Hi, Pendrake. So I was looking up fires, like testing chemicals in chemistry and what color fire flames come about. So I picked this fire. Now I don't remember which one it was. Barium fire? Hold on a minute. Where's the image? That is the image. So it's not very big. I might try and blow it up so you guys can just kind of see it, but it won't be that good. It'll be awful. Like potato-esque. So yeah, I want to do something like that. It's got blues and greens in it, and I feel like together it'll look really pretty. I could have used a regular fire, but I don't think it would have looked as I would have had a different kind of contrast. It would be like an all harmony piece, like an all analogous. Would it be analogous? I think it would be analogous color scheme. And I didn't want that. Not today. So the only color I'm using that you can't get is my my yellow. I put that in there because I'm also going to use another yellow, and I haven't used a whole lot of yellow. Dr. Bob says the blue on the bottom is just the Bunsen burner, you know. Well, then we might have to just pretend that this phoenix is sitting on a Bunsen burner. Yeah, some of the flame, my honey would know because he blows glass. Like the first diagram I saw, yeah, this will be a hybrid flame. I could even make a rainbow flame if I wanted to, but I'm not gonna. Um, one of the pictures was, I think it was butane. I think it was butane fire, and it reminded me of glass blowing. How you can have like a really skinny flame or like a really wide flame, and when you have a really wide flame, it's just like all yellow and it's like flowy and whatever. And you can have all the way down to like a really thin blue flame, and you use them for different things. This is a pretty blue fire connected to lava. Pictures from Yellowstone. Ooh, I can't wait. But yeah. Oh yeah. The Mighty Garrett Bell says, I bought like $50 of HD paints when the clearance sale hit, and now there are no tutorials that use them. FML. But I will say that some of the colors from that line, whenever we've made new colors, we considered them gaps. Like, oh, we have a gap now. We need this again. Because one thing about Reaper that I have tried to take from Anne is that we really don't need new colors that are the same as old colors. You know what I mean? If they're already available. So I really try to make everything different. It's one thing I heard about a nail polish company when I was doing nails, which isn't like so important. I don't even think I ever heard anybody kind of bitch about it, but it was like, oh, well, they just re-release old colors with different names. And we don't want to do that. We want to have something different about it. This is Alchemical Green from Pathfinder. It's a really pretty one. Yeah, Sadie Special Yellow is right there. And it's like high coverage and light. I'm not in love with it, but I can see it being really useful if one of these isn't very high coverage. Which I know yellow can be tricky. Yeah, I know some are coming back. I got lucky and got like 3 bottles of Rich Indigo, and that's coming back. I don't know if Rich Indigo is coming back. Black Indigo is coming back. Maybe Rich Indigo is. Maybe it is for, what's it called? Maybe it is for Kickstarter. I think it is for Kickstarter. Bobcat can't find any reference to Destroyer of Man except for a collection of poems and a reference to Asmodeus. Yeah, I don't know. I really liked it though. I don't think he meant it as a compliment, but I was like, ooh, Destroyer of Man. I love that. It's sexy. Thanks, Coffee Nerdery Beer. Okay, so I'll let you guys kind of critique, because one thing, I'm good at like the color wheel, but once it comes to combining it all together, I don't know. So like, I don't know how I like the Alchemical Green. I think I might take that Alchemical Green out. I don't know how any of it's going to look all together. That's kind of why I'm doing this. It'll save me some, yeah, I'm planning my scheme out, Gimli. I'm cutting stuff out that I don't like together, and I'm not super good at it just with my eye. It's actually kind of funny because my boyfriend will be making something and he'll be like, what color should I use? I'm like, I have no idea. I'm really not good at that. And I'll tell you what else. I was listening to an interview of a girl, woman from Trading Spaces. Do you remember the show Trading Spaces? The like HGTV like decorating show? And she was talking about, yeah, it was, what was her name? It's with G. It's a really pretty name. Can't remember it, but she said some people are decorators and some people are designers. Decorators usually go by the color schemes and whatever, but once you get into design, you try and break the rules and bring something new. So I am not that, not yet. I'd like to be, but we'll look at these. But these are my choices. This is what I pulled together all for myself. Now, what I was going to say earlier, the reason I didn't get to this earlier is because my effing IPVO camera. I can't. Genevieve, thank you. I can't adjust the white balance or the exposure and have it stick in the program that I'm using. So you guys are going to have to bear with me. This sucks so bad and I hate it. Like, I don't know why I've never noticed it before. Maybe it's because I've never had colors that were as bright as this, so I can just really tell. But that's too much. Yeah. No, I PVO, not I peed on. I might though. Okay, well that's a blend, but that's blue flame, which was what I was gonna do anyway. It was blue flame in part of it. So yeah, that's my color scheme. We're gonna leave the flame for later. I don't know, maybe it all works. I just feel like this green kind of jumps out at me as like a, maybe I can like put it, Cooves, that's what Justin actually asked me. And what did I call it? The Army Green Dookie. I don't know what it is. I think it's a mid-range. Yeah, the show has no rails. Yeah, RIP color scheme. Oh yeah, blue flame's great. I actually need to make blue flame. It's one of the ones that's like coming up. Okay, so anyway, I'm looking at it. I like it. This is a little dark. Like, I feel like I could have something in between here. Somebody recommended, I think it was, To Cry Some More recommended a amber color, but it was of a line of, a different line of paint, a different brand of paint, which I don't have. So it's like, oh, amber. Maybe I should add a little, like, amber color in there. But anyway, greens are for the fire, oranges are for the bird. Yes. So if you have any suggestions, let me know. So let's look at, I found this bird because I wanted to look at a real bird and see kind of how they look. Is this it? Okay, yeah. So this bird, I don't remember what this bird's called. I'm such amateur hour. But I like the colors in this bird. And it gave me an idea of kind of like the sheen of a bird. Because if you think about it, the feathers will have their own highlight and shadow, but also all together it'll have a highlight and shadow. Yeah, fancy pheasant. Bird of paradise. I don't remember, but I was looking up, you would X that brown. I think I will too. Yeah. Hashtag not professional, especially right here. I will tell you what. I'm not. But I'm getting there, and I think I will get there. I'm just, I really don't like breaking rules. So I'm really not good at more than like two colors together, being really confident with them. So anyway, let's start painting. We're 34 minutes in. Probably 30. We started a little late. I'd say that's a good, that I've hit my average. All right, so we're looking at this big bird. It'd actually probably help to have this up in a separate window. So because the flames, aka flashlight, are coming from the bottom, these in the middle here and here are, the top part of the flame is what has the shadow, but there's also a little bit of shadow in here. So I feel like I could do, oh, you can't see my hands, my cursor, I don't think. So anyway, that didn't matter. So in here, I'll point on the real cheese. Okay. So in here, I feel like a wash would do that. In here, I feel like I'm specifically placing some of this dark. And I know you can do a little bit to place a wash where you want it. I think I heard Josh talking about that one time. No, I think that was metallics. Either way. So that's what I'm doing. I'm sure I'll get into it and not be very focused anyway. Sorry, that's all amateur. Okay. So that's what we've got. For a painting show, so little painting actually happens. I know it. Um, okay. Now, on all the other minis I did in the kit, I started with shadows. I also still have little bits that aren't, like I see white on this mini. Oh, and I got contacts. I got contacts. So I can wear my readers and still see what's going on in other places. I just have to look over. Sharky in the tent says washes are easy. If you don't want them somewhere, just load your brush with water. Acts like an eraser. You just have to be careful about making sure it doesn't run everywhere when you add water. Another thing is I was thinking maybe I could just hold it upside down and use a wash, so the gravity would pull it where I want it. Your shadows on the bird in the flashlight image are something other than brown. Look closely at that image to choose a new shadow color. Good point. Let's see. Oh, and you're right. I just said I should start with shadows. What about this deep red? That's one of the ones I picked out that was actually in a bird. I feel like this. Where's my deep red? Not cinnamon. And not. Oh, crimson? What do you think of this crimson? I think the crimson is what I'm. Oh, actually, yeah, I'm covering it up. I always forget what you can see and what you can't see. I think the crimson red. Most of these I think I would mix with other ones, but I'd like to have these options. So anyway, I will probably mix crimson red with phoenix red and see where that ends up. So for these places, I don't know why I took these off. So these places that still have white, I'm going to try and get those nice and clean and pretty. So let's get a little off track. What'd you do this week, Justin?
A bunch of LeBron stuff. I know that's pretty much every week nowadays, but I made some pretty big strides this week in terms of technological prep. We kind of had a bit of a setback
What
in
was
that
it?
we're realizing that the studio may not be completely finished by ReaperCon.
Uh-oh, why?
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that has to go into it, and I'm trying to make sure we don't rush anything.
Right.
But like, I don't want to make any short-term decisions, or I'm sorry, long-term decisions for a short-term problem. So uh, we uh, we may be filming ReaperCon from the finished portions of the studio, but not so much. There may be areas that are off limits because they're not finished.
You can use Platinum Studios.
Oh, okay, yeah, no problem. We'll use Platinum Studios. Yeah, concrete bare walls have a great aesthetic. Thank you, Bale.
Um, anything like not work?
I haven't honestly had a whole lot of time for not work things this week.
Do you enjoy
Um,
it?
do I enjoy what?
Over focusing on work.
That's a loaded question.
Oh yeah, I
That
forgot. People can see us.
it's a two-parter. No, I'll be completely honest, right? Because that's what I have no problem being honest. I think that I have no problem with it in short term to accomplish goals because it's necessary because of the nature of kind of the way we do things, how people wear lots of hats, and how the entire ReaperCon planning team has got 5 people in it basically. Um, plus plus the help that we get for volunteers and things. But the core planning group, the primary decisions being made are made by 5 people.
I tried to get in on it. You remember? And
Sure.
if I were the type of person to hear what I felt and not what was said, it would have been Ed telling me to go fuck myself. But it wasn't. He was just like,
God.
you remember that day though? He was just like, what are you working on? And I'm like, here, bro. I'm in the meeting. Like I'm meeting. He was like,
Get some
huh,
F-bombs in chat, please.
huh?
F-bombs in chat. So can I get some F-bombs in chat?
Oh yeah, f bombs. And
Oh,
He's like, don't
But
you have some stuff to mix? And I was like, oh my god, Ed just told me to go fuck myself in front of everybody.
no, that was you sat. Well, it was more like those Curb Your Enthusiasm moments, like where you like sat down and you like finished the sitting down and you got right back up again, like, oh, okay, like it was more funny your reaction on your end. It was less,
Uh,
like, oh, okay,
okay, here's the thing about Reaper though. Everything is so fluid. Um,
very,
that
very.
I kind of feel like I just pretend everything now. So like, um, when, um, when we closed, I was like, if you don't mind, I'm still gonna be coming in here because I'm not gonna get behind. So like, I kept coming in, and my family was like, so what's going on with what is it? What's going on with the shutdown? And I was like, oh, it's only like owners. It's a skeleton crew. My family was like, so, and I was like, oh, I'm a pretend owner. Like, I pretend to be an owner. Um, don't worry about me. I got this. Like, y'all worry about you. Don't worry about me.
But
But yeah, so I tried to help you there, buddy. I got
no,
shut
no,
out.
it's fine. No, it's fine. It's. I would say it's less of a. Even if I had a bunch of people come forward with help, I would say that because a lot of this is new, there's still an organizational kind of issue too, where even if I had 10 people, I wouldn't know what tasks to give those 10 people necessarily because we're having to do a lot of decision making on the fly. But I, I I guess to give you a very long-winded answer to a really simply a short question, because it was a short question. I love what I do. I don't love the times where I have potentially 16-hour days each day. Right, those get rough after a while. And I will breathe a sigh of relief when we're approaching the week after ReaperCon and we're able to kind of let the dust settle and kind of figure out what we could do better. Um, and but then that's also when it's going to hit me too that I miss I'm going to miss what we're doing here. So like leading up to the con, it's going to be very I'm going to be very anxious, and then during the con I'll be white knuckling everything to make sure it all goes over as smooth as possible, and then afterwards, which things will likely be okay. We have a fantastic community. I know that the people who watch us they're not going to be hypercritical. They know that this is the first time we've done it.
My fuzzy thing fell off.
Why
It's
did
okay, go
you
ahead.
knock? Did you knock your fuzzy thing off?
I don't know. It just comes off.
You don't really need it. There's not a lot of wind in there.
It's
It's got a,
something.
in theory,
My
do
voice
what?
gets a quality that I don't like. It's like I don't know. Anyway,
But
sorry.
anyway, so that's about it. I think that when it's over, I'm gonna miss it. Obviously, if it goes over well enough, we may do it again at some point. And but outside of that, it's something that I'm not super thrilled about the long days, but it's still very fulfilling work, and it's challenging. At the end of the day, challenging is good for me in a lot of ways, right? It's good for personal growth, it's good for career growth, it's good for everything, right?
So, somebody asked about our giveaway. We have 8 subs. It's the Happy Kitchen Yellow. Happy. Oh, it didn't do it like I thought it would. But anyway, Happy Kitchen Yellow is what we're
No.
giving away. It is our mid warm high coverage yellow. I made it trying to make something completely different that I saw in nature and used not the ideal base. So I couldn't get it as bright as I wanted. But plainer spoons, actually my great grandmother had a yellow kitchen, so that's probably what that is for me. So Happy Kitchen Yellow looks like this in the bottle, and I'm giving that away for every 5 subs. So right now we got one. Um,
And
so
it's now open. So if you see
hashtag
this,
free
go
is
ahead and
open.
type it. Yes.
Um, oh, you got that Jeep color. I like that. I am a yellow fan. Um, my honey and I like to play this game. I like to. Oh, I like real talk at Reaper. Diphemist. I like that. Um, I like to play this game with my honey where I'm like, is that too yellow for a house? Because he doesn't like yellow, and I like yellow houses. Yeah, Valander, that's the only reason I'm giving it away is that it is a good opaque yellow, though just not what I was looking for. So, um, why planer? Do you need a kidney? Um, um, Not literally. If you need a kidney, you don't have to tell us. I was trying to make a like bright cloud orange. Oh, we're trying to sell one. Um, but anyway, yeah, let's get a shadow going. Let's get this shadow in. That's just a little lighter than Harvest Gold. I think you're right, Twisted Oma. I knew it was like, I knew it was unlike anything in the first. I feel like the first 12, 3, 6, 9. The first 9 to 12 have the good basic yellows. Hi, Demetrius Jimbo. I thought about doing this thing. I didn't have enough time though. I thought about like asking you guys like pick a color and we do some kind of survey and I would whip up a special one-time color.
By
Maybe
the
we'll do
way,
that.
to answer Scrying Eyes question from earlier, not to interrupt, Sadie.
Go ahead.
Uh, I do see ReaperCon in terms of digital planning, in terms of this remote stuff that we're having to do. I see it making a lot of things easier. Especially right now, I'm already planning to do things differently next time, but we can't really make changes now. So it's already making things easier and setting things up. So to put it basically, it's easier to maintain the roads you already made, right?
Mm-hmm.
That you than it is to rebuild the road. So in this case.
So I've got fun animal news.
Ooh, go ahead.
First of all, my outside cat, Hissy Poo, Penelope Hissy Poo. She is mean as hell, um, but also very interested in people, especially me because I feed her. Um, but she's gotten to where she's a little bit more gentle. Like, um, actually, I'm going to make that go away. So, used to, she'd come up to the glass door, and I think I talked about this before how I was kind of embarrassed. She would come up to the glass door when I was house sitting for my mom, and I wasn't there. My family doesn't know I feed her. I pretend I don't, even though they know I do. So she'd come up to the back door, and everybody would be like, "Oh my gosh, look at that cat! She's like right up here, like she wants to be friends or whatever." But if you went over and you touched the window, she would like smack the shit out of it and hiss, like she'd be mad. And when I went out to feed her, I would have to have something in between us because she'd get me, and she got me a few times. It was rough. But now, when I go up to the window, she'll hiss at me, but she'll rub against the window. Or when I go out there, she won't rub against me, but she'll rub against stuff close to me. And I'm not as scared of like being close to her. She'll get close to me and not attack me. So we're making progress there, which will help with the other feral, Roy, who always hides. He never comes out, and I think part of it is that she uses up a lot of the attention. Yeah, that's not my cat. So a cat that lets me feed her. You're right. So Roy hides. She is like the dominant cat, so he'll come out when she lets him, but he'll never let me see him. So like she is a gray and white domestic short hair. He is a big, beautiful gray Maine Coon. Beautiful cat. I say he, I think it's she too. But a beautiful cat. And I was talking to Anne about this before she left, and I was like, I really need to trap and neuter spay these cats, even though I would love to have kittens around. I don't want to have kittens around because then I'll have to catch them, and you're not supposed to want that. So I don't, but the child in me is like, what would be so bad about having a bunch of kittens? But anyway, I need to to do that. And Anne was like, well, the best way to get them to trust you is to feed them. So I feed them. I love them. Now I give them water because I was house sitting and I started thinking, like, where are they getting water? And the more they have to go out and hunt for, the more likely they are to get eaten. And I just drove myself crazy. So I was like, gotta give them a bunch of water. And they knock it over all the time, but whatever. For a very short while, they have access to it. So what are you gonna do? Anyway, yeah, we don't have cats. We don't have a cat. She has humans. Exactly. No, I would never assume those kitties' genders. They can be exactly who they want to be. Though, and this is not trying to open a debate, I had an orange cat, Koshka, which is who my like screen name or handle or whatever is named after, Kuska. I had an orange cat, Koshka, and I was assured it was a boy. The guy I got him from, was like, this is Scooter's son, and Scooter was a real good cat. Like, this is going to be a real good cat for you. I promise. Ooh, thank you, Z Race. So 2. We're going to give away 2. Maybe more. 2, maybe more yellows. So anyway, Koshka always acted like feminine. I don't know how a cat acts feminine, but I was like, this cat kind of seems like a girl. And I would put, like girly, I'd give her girly toys. And when I went to go get her shots, this makes me look dumb, but I was like, I think this is a boy. His balls just haven't come in yet. And I told Reaper Harley that, and she was like, oh dear God, Sadie, like that's a girl cat. When I went to go get the shots, they were like, yeah, this is a girl. So that's the story of cat gender.
It's kind of a specific take on it.
I thought that Koshka just identified as a female, but Koshka was a biological female. Yeah, pink cat toys. She had like a little pink mouse, and I gave her a baby blue bow tie, and she had a sparkly bow tie. But anyway, but yeah, so I'm making some headway on these ferals, but they've run off my good friend feral Richard. So Richard doesn't like Hissy Poo. I think they fight. So Richard hangs around the front side of the house now, which offends me deeply, but that's what happens sometimes when you get cat greedy and you start feeding all the cats and you lose your favorite cat. So sometimes I'll be like looking outside and I'll see him prowling around at night. And I'll be like, Richard! Like real offended like, and he'll come over and let me feed him, but he avoids me. We have an open attic on the other side of the house. I think he lives up there. He was the one that went missing for months and months and months. Like, I think over a year. But came back. I think it was Nomad Zeke that showed me all the cat Facebook groups. He is a Pimbus face cat. Which is not why his name is Richard, but... Oh, his name is Butch for that reason. Boy likes to play fetch. He's apparently got some of the dog software installed. That dog update. Yeah, over a year. I kept saying, how sometimes you're like, I'm depressed. I miss Richard, but he's dead. And my boyfriend would be like, you don't know he's dead. Lots of cats go missing for over a year. And I'm like, not where I live. There's coyotes and shit. He's dead. He fucking came back one day. I was doing my nails and I had my door propped open. And he just like popped up and meowed at me and like stuck his head. Because I have a door to the outside to my room. And that's how he'd come in, is I would sit with my door open. But anyway, yeah. He came back and then he left me again. I feel like a cowboy's girlfriend in an old western. Yeah, sup human, that's what he said. But yeah, so I went this week I hadn't gone to therapy for like since this whole pandemic started. Um, I felt like the last time was like the last time I went in, she was like, "How are you taking all this?" And I'm like, "I'm not bothered by it at all." And then I just dropped off the face of the earth when really I just got really busy. But she's got the same thing. It's like one of those farm type, maybe not farm, but I know they do the equine therapy. But anyway, they've got a lot of animals. And I was like, "Man, you got a lot of cats now." And she was like, "Yeah, they just keep showing up." But her cats are all really nice. It's like they know that they're therapy cats. You think the other cats like train them? Like, hey, chill, we're therapy cats. You know what I mean? Like, you can't act like this
Yeah.
here. This is a safe space. But so I went and she was running late and she was like, "I need to go do some work. You can either wait for me here or we can walk and talk." And I was like, "Let's walk and talk." And we had to round up her chickens and her, are they guineas? Like kind of chickens? Pseudo chickens? We had to round those up. And so you have to like get behind them and like drive them in. And I wasn't helping at first. I was just kind of taking it in. I didn't want to be, in the way. And she's like, "I kind of need your help." So we like rounded these chickens up. It was like a video game. It was the coolest thing. So we did that and got to see all they have like a llama. They have, it might be an alpaca. I don't know the difference. Guineas and chickens and horses and goats and dogs and cats. I loved it. It was great. But yeah, I think they train each other. And they're just regular old ferals, which answered a question. I was like, "Where do you get these wonderful, wonderful animals?" Plainer said the older train the younger. All you have to do is kind of give them a good look, like, "Hey, I could love on a cat right now," and they'll come over. Alpacas are smaller. Oh yeah, it was all of them. I was like, "Man, this is the life. This is where it's at." But yeah, outdoors so you can stay like social distanced, which is nice. I think I function better outdoor, but I'm really bad at being assertive, even on like regular things. So I've never. My boyfriend asked me one time, he's like, "Have you ever asked her for like the outdoor or animal therapy or whatever?" And I'm like, "Oh no, I could never do that." Like, something they offer, but I'm like, I just don't want to make waves. I just want to do what normal people do. Whatever. But I think I gotta be outside now. I think I gotta be free with all these animals in order to reach my potential. Pretty neat. Oh, Rings Raccoon has a farm. Nature, sun, get to work with ponies, horses. Truly is the life. I want a kitty here so bad. I want a paint department cat. I feel like if I fed it and loved it in paint department, it would always want to be in paint department. But I gotta ask Cindy, and Cindy made me feel like, didn't make me feel. I felt guilty because Cindy was saying, we do have forklifts and we do open the bay doors, garage doors. I don't know what the difference is. We do open these doors. So, how would you feel if the cat got out and got hit by a car? And I was like, "Oh, I'd feel real sad. But I do want one." We didn't have Mama San in here because she threw up. And they didn't want her to throw up in here. But also, I don't know what would happen if we got cat hair in something, like bottles or whatever. Yeah, well, Scrying Eye, I'm actually going to be in the same building, luckily. But we're getting more space. We'll just see. I do feel like one day the right kitty's going to come and we're going to make room for her or him. All the kitties I pick out have special health needs, though. I swear, when I see a kitty, I'm like, oh, that's the perfect kitty. It's always like, you have to make it go pee and other things. It needs medicine or it'll get constipated. It has one eye. Yeah, the mama-san hair blister. Okay, so Twisted Oma, we are about to get Audrey 2. We're about to get Audrey 2 back. But I don't know that Audrey is the I don't know that Audrey is the version that we will want to replicate. I think that Tiamat is the best in the sense that, okay, so one time Justin was having a lot of trouble with something and it was like on the computer and I was like, at least you're not digging ditches. And he was like, I would rather be digging ditches because when I dig a ditch, I stick the shovel in the dirt and I pick it up and it actually works. Like it actually comes up. So on Tiamat, there's a little bit more control. You can actually make it do what you want it to do. If Audrey's got a problem, it's sensors and cables and all sorts of different whatever. So like if you've seen them, you know what I'm talking about. But Tiamat is our semi-manual, semi-automatic. But you just push a button and everything comes down. Like these things come forward, they trap the bottles, they go down in, they pump. It's pretty easy. If it doesn't want to pump, you could manually pump it and stop it when you see it, which is the way we used to do it. We used to have a drill press that you like pulled down this thing, it pushed a button, it pumped, it stopped. With Audrey, it's this really intricate system of like, is there a bottle there? Is everything working? We'll see you later, Scrying Eye. Is, whatever. Is there a cap in the slide? Is there a nipple present? Like, it has to figure out all these things, like a really complicated flow chart. And so a lot more can mess up. And in fixing one thing, because it's so tight, you can mess up another. So while I love Audrey, and then there's the aspect of when you're training somebody, the technician has to go fix all the little issues, which would be me. And Anne wasn't the technician. Like before, it was like Anne was mixing. I don't know how it would be trying to hear for a problem over the mixer. And that's how I function better, is I hear it. I'm like, oh, that sounded weird. So go check on it. But either way. So that's the thing with Audrey. Maybe there would be an Audrey 2 copy, because this will be a new version of Audrey. This Audrey is supposed to label. We'll have to show you guys when we get it in. But I was told, I don't know, I was told like 3 weeks, a couple weeks ago. They were saying like 3-4 weeks. So maybe before ReaperCon. I kind of doubt it, but maybe. Audrey 2.0, that's right. And David Baker does that for us from Trenchworks. And he's really cool. He was like in the hobby and also made medical equipment. So he does a little bit of everything. I think Trenchworks has another name for when they do grown-up stuff. Not that this isn't grown-up stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, when they make like a part for a ventilator, they don't use the name Trenchworks.
Oh, okay.
Not that it's like Reaper, but you know what I mean.
I understand.
We'll go till, what time you want to go till? 4:20?
Yeah, we can do 4:20.
4:20 glaze it?
4:20 glaze it.
That's right.
Yes.
Full of them. I wanted to name one of the shows Just the Tip, And Anne was like, no way. And also somebody else took it. But I was like, why don't you use just the tip? She's like, that's not very me. But 420 glaze it. I could see 420 glaze it being a little nice little segment. I didn't make that up. I don't remember who made that up. Did I give Al Bevizin a howdy? I saw a howdy from Al Bevizin. Sorry, I was trying to listen to my department. Oh, almost dipped it in my coffee. You'd think I'd be better about that. Oh, my title is Stable Hand. I like that. I lived on a ranch for a little while in the little ranch hand houses. And though the people that owned it didn't mess with horses, they like, I don't know, rented out horse space. I don't know what the deal was, but there was a guy there that was a horse trainer and horses. And I never realized horses were so big. Like, oh my God, some horses are so big. So big. And I'm scared of horses, so everybody's always told me, like, if you're scared of horses, don't ever get on a horse. Because all I can think is, like, look what they did to Superman. What do you think this thing's going to do to me, you know? So, I don't fuck with getting on horses. But I like looking at them and talking to them. I know they're smart.
Wow. I'm going to have to put an explicit warning on this episode when I upload it.
Why?
You know, they're dropping F-bombs in this
Did
episode.
I say the F word?
Yes, you did.
When?
Just a second ago. In fact, that makes number 4, 5. I don't know.
Could you clean it up in post?
I'm not digging through this episode and bleeping it out.
Sorry, guys.
Tiamat with the F-bombs and coups.
Yeah, we like that. I should stop. I'll be better. That might mean migraine's coming. There was an episode where I was so off the rails, and by the end of Reaper Live, I had the worst migraine. Like, I could barely move. And I was like, oh yeah, that's why I was so silly. So, this comes to my, like, origins of words and word type things. I saw recently that, what was it? Sidetracked. Getting sidetracked is like a train reference. So, like, the sidetrack is like the other track where they can, like, go by each other. Like, you pull the little switch and it does the little, and then they go whatever. So getting sidetracked is like hopping over the sidetrack. And I wonder if off the rails is like being derailed. And I think it was on Reddit, but somebody was like, it's amazing how many train references there are in our language. And it makes sense because the train was such a big part of our development as a country. Right?
I mean, it was
Industrial, like the Industrial Revolution after trains. And train.
Now,
No?
I do think it's kind of funny though, because kind of like to your point from earlier, I don't know that we can be sidetracked or off the rails because that would require rails to begin with.
Yeah, that's true.
We're more like a dune buggy that's been wandering the Sahara Desert.
Yeah, that is true. I have always been that way, and I'm trying to learn to just embrace it, but it always, like, I don't know. It kind of sucks being that kid that everybody knows is just sort of, loopy. But whatever. We have fun with it, and that's what's important. I could sure get a lot more done if I weren't like that, but this is another thing, guys. Um, when I paint alone, I'm much faster and more accurate, but I paint like this. Does anybody else do that? Like on my chest and I'm like over here and it's just not very fun to watch. Like I don't really think that oh, thanks planer spoons. Um I don't really think that's fun to watch. Oh my gosh, y'all are too sweet. I can't look. I can't look. You're making me blush. Um Okay, I think that's enough shadowing. We don't have to do the whole thing. Maybe we can build on like, because this is all the same thing, I'm wondering if I can do like a little section, make sure I like it, and then go further. So we did 1 drop crimson, 1 drop phoenix, and like a few drops water. So I'm wondering if now we could do like 2 drops crimson. Oh my goodness, with the ones. You guys. 2 drops crimson, 1 drop phoenix. Let me tell you something I did this week. I made Gothic Crimson this week. And for whatever reason, without getting too into secret stuff, Gothic Crimson is so fucking hard to make. Forgive me, I'm sorry, I did hear that one. It is so hard to make Gothic Crimson. Oh my god, it's so hard to make it. I don't know why. I don't know what happened. I don't know if one of the bases is. I don't know what happened. But I feverishly worked on Gothic Crimson to the point where, like, that night, I had to just make a tiny batch and reformulate it. We won't get kicked off Twitch, will we?
Not at all.
Okay, good.
Just using curse words is pretty tame.
Good.
It's not. So like my personal opinion on cursing is very much like you know who Gary Vaynerchuk is?
Yeah.
I feel basically identical to cursing that he does. It's not I don't have any problem with it in the slightest. But I think from a channel standpoint it's not quite what was agreed upon back in the early days. But it kind of gets blurred too by the token. I mean, often the argument is, well, we've got a big skull for a logo, so
Yeah.
you know.
Also, like, it's like you mentioned, though. I remember one time somebody was like, nobody on the Reaper Twitch has any personality. And I was like, what do you mean? And you were like, well, we kind of are like the news. Like, really, we can't get to whatever. I'm trying to make that go back to the way it was. Go back to the way you were. That's better. That's better. I don't know.
Yeah, at this point, the only thing that Twitch stops is hate speech, really.
And dirty stuff.
Nope, no, they don't even stop that.
Yeah, they do.
No, they don't. There have been hell. You rated someone who was talking about Planer messaged me about it. I think it was Planer. Yeah, well, they
Nudity.
don't allow like yeah, full nudity on camera, but you can talk about all kinds of really, I would say lewd things on stream, and I've been in streams where that happens, and there's not really a recourse for that. So, yeah, the dinosaur teapots girl, that's the one.
I
Yeah,
like that a lot.
I don't remember who messaged me. It was either Plainer or maybe it was Margaret. I don't remember.
Okay, so like I already feel like this is looking less flat. There's just barely anything. It's already looking less flat. Um, does anybody remember the name of the lady that made? I was almost going to say Gothic Crimson. The dinosaur teapots. Do we keep a list of people we raid?
No, not typically. We just spread the love.
Justin, pull that up in the archives.
Pull one up in the archives.
You know who it was. Pull it up in the archives.
It's the dinosaur teapot girl.
don't know if we can search. Oh, messaged you about her being naughty. That she was real naughty.
Yeah, no, someone, I think Trouble said it was Taz Lynch, and that sounds right. I could go back into my messages and see. That sounds right. It was probably Taz Lynch. But at the end of the day, yeah, it's one of those things where like I think if that conversation gravitated towards like minors,
Oh, yeah.
right, then there would be an obvious stoppage, I think. But generally speaking, those that kind of stuff comes up on streams, all of whether it's big or small as far as the size of stream, and it's not really, it's not really something that they police. Let's put it that way.
I probably trying to figure out how to like dance around this without this being offensive. So it probably means I just need to not talk about it. Let's put it in terms of this. Let's not. Let's not. I won't go there. It doesn't matter. I was gonna talk about somebody that was canceled that I kind of feel bad for, but I probably shouldn't.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I don't think you do.
I think I do.
Maybe. But what I was gonna say, I'll just say this. Comedy has evolved, which I think is a good thing. Like I think it's a lot funnier, but for example, the dead baby joke, not funny. But that's when we were in high school, people throwing out a dead baby joke left and right. You know what I mean? I don't know. So like, how do you reconcile that? How do you I don't know.
I think the stream disconnected for a second.
What? Maybe that was my FBI agent. So anyway, Area 51. Did y'all ever listen to Coast to Coast? I love Coast to Coast.
Oh, I love Coast to Coast.
And
To answer your question, Josie, yes. The My plan is for both the Twitch broadcast as well as I believe the classes are going to be PG and even G in some cases.
yeah,
They're not going to be explicit. There's no plans to make them explicit. Let's put it that way. I don't know if we'd had formal conversations with the people teaching classes about language, so um,
I'm
that
okay
I'm
with
not
that.
100% certain on. But I can't imagine in a professional teaching standpoint that Rhonda Bender is going to drop the F bomb, right? Like I don't see her doing that, but um, that would be. I would say that if there's anything to worry about, and it's probably not really a worry, it would just be language in that sense. Topics should never be inappropriate.
My doctor dropped the F bomb my first few visits with them, and I was like, I've found my medical home here. And he said that he understood the anxiety because his wife was like, I think he said batshit anxious or something, batshit crazy, which I enjoy. Not like it's derogatory, obviously. Like I don't think that's derogatory. I think it's good natured. But maybe that's just because maybe that's because that's normal for me to hear. Chewy Boots, my doctor told me to get rid of my guinea pigs. I'm looking for a new doctor. Is that true? You know, Twisted Oma, I could be because I like to watch certain, and I haven't done it lately because they've gotten a little weird, but I used to really like conspiracy theory videos. Um, the conspiracy theory world, unless I'm just opening my eyes to it, I don't feel like it used to be so anti-Semitic, and I really don't like that is something like I know that everything should bother me, and it does, like everything offensive. Not, I would hate to be like, oh, everything offensive to anybody bothers me, but like if it offends somebody, I don't like it, and I don't think it should really be out there. But when I hear something that's anti-Semitic because of the Holocaust, I'm like, do you really not know better? Like, you're such an asshole. Do you really, do you not get it? Like, I don't know. Any kind of that sort of, anytime, and this was our rule here at Reaper too, you should not make fun of somebody or criticize something about somebody that they can't control. That's weird. Anyway, so I like the conspiracy videos, but sometimes I listen to them and I'm like, I will listen or watch, listen, whatever. I'll be like, surely this can't go near Jewish people or the president. And it always fucking does. And I'm like, I can't take it. I can't do it. Anyway. Yeah. And maybe they were always like that, but I don't think so, Sharky. Oh, Bigfoot. See, I don't like cryptozoology, but I'm sure I could find something in that that didn't, like, get me upset. I really, but anyway, I'm like, oh, I've got to be on some kind of list. Because, for example, TWA Flight 800 happened when I was really young, and I've seen stuff about that I'm like, oof, that's a little different. That doesn't quite make sense. But anyway.
Well, it is about time to wrap up.
Uh-oh, sorry. All right, FBI Justin.
I'm sorry.
So yeah.
Did we manage to hit 10? I'm trying to see here. I don't know that we did. Maybe we did.
Small Town Monsters videos on Amazon.
Yeah, we did.
We'll have to set that. We'll have to watch that. You should watch that too, Justin. Small Town Monsters, because Justin's got the Bigfoot thing problem.
Yeah, thank you, Sadie.
11 subs. So we got 2.
Hashtag free everybody. We're gonna be giving 2 batches.
2 bottles of the Happy Kitchen Yellow.
With a pokey tool. So you get
with the pokey tool.
Yep.
Somebody mentioned that on Discord that they didn't get a tiny cork on their pokey tool. That might be the case sometimes. I think we talked about it on the show, that I was like, hey, we should have a little Reaper eraser that we use. And somebody was like, why are you so extra? Like, why do you have to make more work for us? Anyway. But yeah. I'm gonna look for a raid while we get that going. But yeah, I feel like I could be on some kind of list. I mean, everybody could. It's kind of like when J. Edgar Hoover, what was he, head of the FBI? And he would, he had like a file on everybody. I think Evel Knievel was in it. That was one of the weirder ones.
So, our 2 winners are, when everyone is ready here, which everyone is. So, our 2, I'm going to go ahead and announce them. And if you hear your name, type ! I won something ? Well, I mean, with a question mark. Or Planer will type it in chat to get the thing going. But our 2 winners are Cimarron and Big Apple SD77.
Nice. I don't know if you guys have won before, so I really like that. I'd love it if I could find that Sculpting the Cat music. That sounds great.
Go ahead and find us a raid.
Yeah, I'm looking. This almost looks like... That's what I look like. I imagine Minecraft looks like, but I don't know what Minecraft looks like.
I think you'd like Minecraft, actually, Sadie.
James has wanted me to try it, and I'm like, it's just not pretty enough.
That's been my issue with it. I've tried it a handful of times, but I just can't get into it because I don't like the 8-bit aesthetic.
I mean, unless I really enjoy it in its time. I just don't want to falsely create... Oh, this lady's got the best, like, office and setup, but I don't know what she's making. This looks like bread. Yeah, this guy's drawing bread. Um, can't tell what this is, but it's called Bork Bork Bork, and that sounds like so much fun. Sorry if I'm taking too long. I just want to pick the best one.
No problem.
This might be a stupid question, but obviously some of these aren't in English, right?
If they have the English tag, that's usually fine.
Okay.
That usually means they're speaking English. Sometimes it's bilingual or trilingual even.
What is that? It's a lot of like not what. Okay, this guy. Okay, so we don't usually do traditional art, but this person looks like they're drawing a wizard with a bear, and I feel like I'm into it. Um, I'm into it. I'm into it. So,
What's your name?
Leosaurus art. Leosaurusart. Hopefully this doesn't come through. Okay, so it's
Yep,
muted.
got it.
Okay. I'm pretty excited. It looks like yeah, it looks like a wizard with a bear. So anyway,
Alright.
yeah. Um we're gonna get that set up. Spread the Reaper love. Oh, you're already doing it. We
Yep.
love you. We miss you. We'll see you at 6 p.m.
Please be there. Report back to us on if this Leosaurus person is nice and profane free, but even then that's not a problem. But let us know how their art is.
Might not be
And
a wizard. It might be a hillbilly,
but spread the Reaper love. And no, Collins will not sit in. Sorry, Francis.
that'd be great, though, wouldn't it?
Spread it would be spread the Reaper love. Keep being awesome, and
Oh
we
no,
love.
this
I
isn't.
already miss you guys.
This is in Portuguese. Sorry, but that's okay.
Thanks, guys.
Thank
Enjoy
you.
the Portuguese art.